Attend me, squire.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Ready, sir.
I wonder, how shall I destroy you?
What do you want for Christmas?
Money. I think it's been money for the past like 3 Christmases. I think I'm past that phase where I actually want items. But if I didn't want money, it would probably be PS4 or that's really it.
Just a PS4? You don't want any games?
Well, I mean, of course, the games.
He's like, what games?
What
And then we
games?
both laughed and laughed.
No, I just wanted the PS4. You can play games on it. I didn't even know that.
What are these
pretty-
games you speak of?
What are these games? How do you play these games? So what would you want for Christmas?
Um,
Or what do you want for Christmas? My bad.
what do I want for Christmas? I want some more pecan divinity, because that stuff is really good. You ever had that?
Is that bread?
It's
Well-
not really bread. It's like it's like egg whites, but they're mixed and formed in a way. It's dry. It's basically somehow they get the egg whites to have the consistency of marshmallows, but they taste much better and are sweeter. Um,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and then there's like pecans in it, and it's like sugar and like I don't know corn syrup. I don't really know, but it's like so really it's really good.
I can
It's
make
kind
that.
of it's the kind of thing you would get at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I can make that. You have egg whites. You take the egg whites and then you just beat them with an egg beater or cake mixer or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And eventually it gets to the point where it's like this white foam. That's the stuff you're talking about. And then I don't know if they brown it the way you make it or the way the pecan divinity.
It's
But
like white.
Okay, then they don't brown it. Then I get what do they do? Just put pecans in it and put sugar and spices and everything nice in it.
I don't know. It's just like a confection. It's like packaged like candy. It's just exactly like that. It's just white. It's got bits of pecan in it, and it's got the same consistency as marshmallow.
Yeah, I could probably make that for you or something. At least try my hand at it. I don't know. Being a chef and all.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. You're surprised when they learn I can cook. They're like, what?
All three of us on the show, you and Ryan, and myself, we can all do fairly well. What's up with that?
Devin, you can't cook.
I can cook fairly well.
I don't see that being true.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
The best part is all the best stuff I've ever made from like scratch or whatever. I mean, following a recipe, but like you gotta get like the tortellinis and you put it all together and everything like that. Is that all the best stuff I've ever made? I've made for dates and stuff that they canceled on, so I ended up eating it all for myself.
Profound sadness.
Profound. But as far as what else I could want for Christmas, now that you put me on the spot, I can't actually remember. So I'm doing that thing where you look around your room for something you might need more of.
I haven't had a new hoodie in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I definitely need some new clothes. I would love some upgrades to my computer, though it doesn't necessarily need it.
I really would like that. That's actually, I'm gonna replace the PS4 because I can buy a PS4, but I would rather have somebody buy me extremely expensive computer for Christmas.
Right on. I wouldn't mind some more hard drive space. Somehow I've managed to.
I'm gonna pause you there because we had a slip up. Almost sound like you said hard drugs.
I mean, and my phone went off, so it's a good thing we're not recording. But I don't know. Maybe we are recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 13.
Oh God.
That's my Christmas gift to you, the gift of surprise, which is usually the preamble to something actually tangible, but not in this case. In this case, well, I mean, kind of depends. You put this in your ears, you put us in your ears, and we feel good. And that's that. Happy holidays. This is the episode.
I don't like the way that was worded. You put us in your ears, and we're happy. We're happy. Okay, go.
Well, this is episode 13 for 11/22, and just want to thank everyone for listening. And joining me today, as you could tell, is Richard Burrell.
Nope, not me. Got it wrong. Nice try.
My name's Ryan. It's Ryan, guys. Devin's wrong.
Your white Canadian impression is perfect. What was that joke I told you the other day? It was so awful. Like, every single Canadian is playable.
Oh, playable in the new
NHL game. Oh god, that was awful. Well, it doesn't help that we perpetuate the joke by saying it live on air, but it is what it is. One of our hosts is Canadian. I am your host, Devin Casey, and it is always a pleasure. I look forward to doing this every week. How about you? You just coming along for the ride? You even care?
I'm just like, I forget about it half the time. I think I've only been on like 2 episodes. I'm getting real sick of this.
Getting real sick of this? What am I? A co-host?
What am I? A co-host? What do you want me to be, like a co-host or something?
Spoof from episode like 2 or 3 or something like that?
Yeah.
It might not sound like we've come a long way, but we've certainly come a long way.
Yeah.
We don't do the script the same way. We don't do anything the same way. Even the audio is better. Well, at least for this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys should be expecting an increase in audio quality, thanks to Mr. Casey over here.
But speaking of the divinity, what's your favorite holiday treat? You like some apple cider with some rum in it? Do you like, I don't know.
I prefer non-alcoholic eggnog. That's probably my favorite holiday treat.
I love non-alcoholic eggnog too. The Southern Comfort.
Yeah, it's like the best. I can drink that. It's like when you drink that, Frank Sinatra is like the best thing. It's like my dynamic duo for Christmas. I can't survive Christmas without either one of those.
It's such
Frank
good stuff.
Sinatra and some non-alcoholic eggnog. Not that I don't drink or like I'm against drinking or anything, but
Yeah.
It tastes better non-alcoholic.
It's like a milkshake.
Yeah,
You don't put alcohol in your milk.
I don't.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like alcohol in my coffee either, so.
I've actually had beer and coffee together. Thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. It was actually pretty good.
That's like beer with ice cream.
Yeah, maybe that works.
No, that's a regrettable decision. So you said your favorite Christmas movie was Christmas Story or something?
What?
What was your favorite Christmas movie?
Jingle All the Way.
Oh, well, here's a question for you. Hypothetically, it's Christmas time, and you're preparing for a family seasonal celebration, right? But things never run smoothly for you, your wife, or your 2 kids, and your continual bad luck is worsened by your obnoxious family guests that arrive. But you manage to keep going somehow, knowing that, your Christmas bonus at work is probably due soon. Probably. So you're working on the lights, and you like to light up your whole house. And you're on the roof, doing what you do, trying to figure out what's wrong, where a bulb has gone bad, that kind of thing. And you slip and fall from the snow. While you're on the roof in the snow, I don't know. But you slip and fall. You fall and you fall. And you manage to get one hand on the side of the gutter hanging off. Video game style. Okay, and while you're sitting there, and you look down, and you got like a 2-story drop, right? Which Hearthstone deck do you choose?
What?
Do you play Paladin deck? Do you play a Warlock deck?
I would say a Paladin deck because they have Divine Shield, so if you land on the ground, it wouldn't hurt, at least for the first time you hit the ground.
Like that bubble. What if you bounced and flew into someone else's house?
I mean, they can't blame you. That's
They
Divine
can't.
Shield's fault.
You could just always bubble Hearth out of there, right?
Or you could summon Silverhand recruits to catch you.
True Silver Champion, your Christmas tree down.
Oh,
For
God.
justice! For Christmas!
Attend me, Squire.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Ready, sir.
Enough of that. That was the plot from Christmas Vacation.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured that's where you were going with it, but I didn't know the movie, so I couldn't say for sure.
So let's move on to some Hearthstone news. Lots of Hearthstone news, my friend. Lots of it. Season 1 concludes
Yes.
January 2nd. Kaganbe, who is a shark
What?
that patrols the forums, he's community manager, comes on the forums to say that the test, Season 1, is the end of that's coming soon. They say, thank you for helping test our very first ranked play season. The season is intended to conclude January 2nd, so be sure to wrap up your climb up the ladder, particularly down in the numbers. So once the season is over, everyone's ranking will be reset back to 25, and Season 2 will begin. So, by extension, Season 2 begins January 2nd. 2-2 helps. Whatever. During the course of this first season, we've gotten some very valuable feedback and data from you regarding the new ranked play system. We greatly appreciate your efforts in helping us test it and so on. The only way to help us move on faster, is to give us your feedback on the forums. Continue to do so, and yada yada. Thanks for testing it for us. How far did you get as of this airing?
Since I came into the beta kind of late, and then I still hesitated to get into ranked mode, I'm currently 19, but I'm shooting to reach at least 15 before the second, because I feel like I win a lot more matches than I lose. I think like normally my pattern is I'll win 2 or 3 and then I'll lose 1 or 2. So I'm a little bit above 50% win rate. I don't know if there's a way to check that because I haven't really looked into it. I just play, but that's my current state. How about yourself? I believe you're what? I think you're at where I want to be at.
Yeah, I cruised from 25 down to about 18, and then it started getting more difficult. And then between 17, 16, and 15, I keep going back and forth, which is it's interesting that there's a reason for that. Because simply between ranks, you face different players. Because now that we're getting closer to the end of the season, everyone's kind of where they're going to be at, because everyone's kind of where their skill puts them at. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're only good enough to be a 15, you're not going to get lucky far enough to get any further than 15 because of the stars and everything. You win some, you lose some, sure, but you're going to generally be where you're at in the ladder. And I think it's really balanced as far as the season progresses and people play and they get to the rank that their skill appropriates them to be at. I think it's really balanced and fair in seeing where you really stand. And I keep going back between 15, 16, and 17 because I'll win some. I'll get on a streak with like a Warlock aggro deck or a simple rogue deck, a simple rogue draw deck. But then I start to get towards 15, and then I start losing again. Because the meta changes so rapidly between these ranks. Sure, it changes over the weeks on a whole thing, on the grand scheme of things, but the meta and the card choices and the players and their choices, they change so rapidly and dynamically throughout the different ranks. And your MMR, like if you lose and you're like a 15, that explains why you go up against a 16. You might beat them, but so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm stuck at 15, 16. I can't seem to get past it no matter what I do. So I don't think I'm going to get any farther than that. So I've just been playing Arena in the hopes that everyone's busy trying to get their rank up, and they might give me a win in Arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a this like identical to the league rank system, which is actually why people complain about the league one, because it's like a single player ranking system, but it's a team game. So it's like if you're stuck with bad players, you get punished because you just got put with bad players. And the way they try to balance it is, say your MMR is really high because you've won a lot more matches than you lost, or in your games you win a lot more matches than you lost. You'll get placed with players higher than your rank, like you said with this one. But the problem comes in where, like, because you are really high rank on your team, because your MMR is really high, to balance it out, they'll put people with really low MMR on your team to balance the other, to balance it, because like their team can be average, like all like middle ground players, and then your team will be you with really high MMR, and then everybody else on your team is really low MMR to balance out. It's like, why would you do that instead of just putting all middle ground players together?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that's like a whole nother topic though. Like people don't like though, because it's like you aren't fully in control. Like it's not 100% your own skill. Because there's just some games you can't win because some people are so bad at the game. And people just get frustrated with that. So I'm glad. I like the ranking system here, but I can't stand it in team games.
Yeah, because you could be brought down by the other players, I understand. But it's all on you in Hearthstone. And, I don't know. Kudos to anyone that gets past rank 5, I think, which is where you don't even get streaks anymore. You just gotta win. That's it. You gotta win. If you lose, you go back. If you win, you go forward, and you only go forward one star at a time, and so on. But there was iHeartU released this amazing article featuring a bunch of which is commonly referred to as the science of Hearthstone. A bunch of these little mini like rules and quirks and things that everyone may not realize about Hearthstone that aren't actually put into plain text. They're not actually told to you. You kind of just figure out with experience by playing. So they put these down on paper, so to speak. So let's go over a few of the better ones. What was one of your favorite? There's 30 of them.
More recently, I looked over the article again and noticed a couple that I either skipped or just kind of was like looking at something else at the same time. I don't know, but they stand out now. If you cast Betrayal on an Emperor Cobra, it instantly kills everything that it damages. And if, for those who don't know what Emperor Cobra's card text is, it destroys any minion that's damaged by the Emperor Cobra. So if you trade with it, or if they attack you with the Emperor Cobra, whatever minion that they hit will die, regardless of its health. And Betrayal, it causes you target a minion, and it deals its damage to the two minions on the side of it. So because of the card text on Emperor Cobra, Betrayal deals the damage of the Emperor Cobra to the two adjacent enemies, and the card text causes it to kill them. And that's really cool, but it also got me wondering, if you were to, for example, use Betrayal on a water elemental, would it freeze the two targets on the two adjacent targets?
Yeah, I imagine it would if they survive the attack. It's like what 4, 3, 6.
Yeah, he's three damage. So I mean, it's not impossible for something to survive 3 damage. There's a lot of cards with more health than that. So I would be really excited if that actually worked, because that's more control. That's like free control in a rogue deck, because that is a rogue card, I believe. Betrayal.
Let's see. A minion who attacks a hunter who has a misdirection trap set on the misdirection is a trap you put on your hero that directs the attack from where it's coming from to one of your minions on the board. So, let's say if my opponent attacked my character and I had minions on the board, they would just be distracted and sent to attack one of my minions, presumably to their death, perhaps, if their health was low enough. But if a minion attacks a hunter who has the misdirection trap set, if the minion attacks my character instead, the minion will take damage from my weapon. However, you won't lose weapon durability. So that's a pretty cool way to get some extra stretch out of your weapon, because that would be
Wait, hold on. Explain this to me again. Hunters have weapons?
Hunters have a weapon. Yeah, it's a bow. It's like an eagle
never
thorn
seen it.
bow or something.
Is it only one?
I think they might have two.
I never even knew they had a weapon. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's what confused me. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you get. There's no other situation where you would trade with a minion hitting you.
And not lose weapon durability.
Oh, the druid one, I guess. But their hero power gives them attack. So.
Right. It's hardly a weapon. Let's see. Shadow Madness can be silenced. Mind Control cannot. It's interesting to note. Holy Nova deals damage before it heals. So if the opponent has an eye for an eye, and you cast Holy Nova at 2 HP, you're still gonna die.
What was the one about
there I go again.
Secret orders. If you cast a secret, okay, traps or secrets trigger in the order that you cast them. If you play counterspell and then play a spellbender, the first spell your opponent plays will get countered even if it targeted a minion, and the spellbender won't trigger at all. If you play the spellbender first, the counterspell, and the counterspell second, the spell will get redirected to your 1/3 and then countered. That's weird.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to forget when playing that a Blood Imp buffs a minion from for 1 HP, and it's it's perpetual. So if you cast like 2 points of area damage, the minion goes to 1 HP but survives. I've seen paladins use equality on my minions, and it absolutely falls short.
Wow.
If you use equality on a board of minions buffed by a Blood Imp, which is a stealth 1/1 that gives all the other minions 1 HP, they're going to remain at 2 HP. And they're like, oh shoot, that didn't quite work. Yep. Traps trigger on the order you cast them. If you play Counterspell and then play Spellbender, the first spell your opponent plays will get countered, even if it targeted a minion. And the Spellbender won't trigger at all.
I just read that one.
You did, didn't you? You worded it differently.
Yeah.
If you have 7 minions, the max number of minions allowed on one side of the board, your Noble Sacrifice does not trigger at all, because your board is too full.
Yeah, I've had a few experiences of that with the Imp Master. I'll reach a full board, and then she just like takes the damage, and then nothing happens. And same thing with any cards that summon another minion, like the Murloc Tide Hunter, I believe.
I think so.
Or the Razorfin Boar Hunter, or whatever her name is. Yeah, if you drop them and you're already at capacity, or you have 1 space left and you drop them, the summon just won't appear. So it's a complete waste of the battle text on those.
Let's conclude with a big one. And that's Sylvanas Windrunner. If your board is a lone Sylvanas Windrunner, which is a 5/5/5 whose Death Rattle, it's a legendary, her Death Rattle takes control of an enemy minion. If they don't have any minions on the board, you don't get anything. So they always want to kill Sylvanas Windrunner if they don't have anything on the board. So it almost always trades 2 for 3, 2 for 1, or 3 for 1. So if you have 1 on your board and that's all you have on your side, and your opponent has 1 and then a 1/1 minion of their own. So Sylvanas and like a 1/1 whatever weenie. So let's say you trade your Sylvanas for their Sylvanas. If your Sylvanas came into play first, both Sylvanases are going to die from the trade, of course. But if yours came into play first, you'll gain control of his minion, his other minion, and then immediately lose control of it, because your death rattles are fighting for control or whatever in the order. But if yours came into play second, that is, say you played your Sylvanas Swindwinner after they played theirs, their death rattle will trigger first, and then yours will trigger, and you'll get to keep the 1/1 weenie minion, or whatever minion. So that's extremely useful to know, because Sylvanas, right next to Ragnaros, those are some of the highest quality, the better legendaries that you see over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to understand that mechanic, because Sylvanas almost always pauses the game and makes people think for a second.
Because it's not only is she a 5/5, but it's like a free mind control. Well, not free, but like a 5-mana mind control attached to that, and it could potentially be like a game changer if she controls the right minion. If they have like a insanely buffed like questing adventure or something,
Yeah,
and you take control of that, that can win the game for you.
it's almost always ignored though, if they have a taunt.
Mm-hmm.
But about card adjustments and nerfing or buffing cards, Sarai comes on the forums to say that it requires a delicate balance, of course, but it requires more of some thought than players may realize. And she goes into detail, describing that like a nerf in itself isn't necessarily bad, though it's perceived that way to many, since it appears to make the card worse. But what really happens when you nerf a card is that it makes the cards used around it or conjunction with it stronger. So like if you nerf Mage, the opponents of a Mage deck typically get stronger, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really an indirect buff to another class.
Right, so you can't just like, well, the obvious thing to do here is lower this minion's attack power or whatever, and that affects more cards than just that card itself. Because they might appear to have like a basic answer at first glance, she says, but with the evolution of the meta and the long-term ramifications of changing a card, those are really the things they kind of look at. Eric Dodds made a good point, she says, about the card changes at the balance and the balance of the meta during the Hearthstone panel at BlizzCon, when he discussed cards like the Acolyte of Pain and their power levels early in the early game of Hearthstone. So, to summarize all that, it's not as simple as raising or lowering mana cost or raising or lowering attack and health. You got to think about the cards that synergize with it, that combo with it,
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like if it's a hero's if it's a mage card like the ice elemental or water elemental, you got to think about all the cards that work in conjunction with it, which I think that thing needs to be nerfed as we say this.
Ice or water elemental?
Whichever one has 6 health.
They both have 6 health. But I believe you're talking about the water one. The one that freezes anything that it attacks?
Yeah, and it's got such low mana cost.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's crazy.
It's a 4/3/6. Has a lot of health, a really good card text, and average attack. 3 attack is pretty good for 4 mana.
Yeah.
That I just want to add on, like, that's something to think about. Like, if you're serious about becoming better at any game, really, that gets like regularly patched, like, and stuff gets changed, try to understand, instead of like if you play a class and something gets changed, it's probably because it's good. It's like too good right now, which means it's still good after they nerf it. I mean, hopefully that's the goal of a nerf, is to bring it to a fair level, not like shoot it into the ground. But if something's getting nerfed, that means it's working. So you can look into that and see, okay, maybe I should start trying to do that and try to figure out why things were nerfed and what things were buffed because something else was nerfed. Like, how are people going to adjust to this change? And what can I do to um, better my chances with this new situation at hand.
The closest you can get to like a developer strategy guide is paying attention to the decisions they make with the game and what is obviously their idea of how you should play something. Because of course, they're trying to make it so variable and so interchangeable. But like news, there's a bias, right? And they have particular ways they'll play, or they'll particularly choose to play something. So with them nerfing Cone of Cold, Blizzard, and Frost Nova, that they agree with the player base that they are too strong. Because of course they're going to agree, right? I would be interested in knowing the cards they're attacking directly with the nerf hammer, by nerfing other cards. Like they're nerfing one card, and by doing so, or buffing one card, and by doing so, they're completely affecting the card they intend to, and that's the only way that they can go about it. But they just haven't mentioned it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in those developer insights. That'd be really cool.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be like a good edge on your opponents, I suppose.
Well, the closed beta is extended to 2014. However, all the opt-ins as of last week or so have been invited, and if you haven't gotten it, check your email. They insist you've gotten it. There's nothing they can do, really, except flag those accounts that haven't activated yet, because they could see who has used the code and who hasn't, and maybe you might get another code. But no more invites will be sent after January 7th, which is shortly after Season 2 begins. Aerotel says, unfortunately, while we will be closing opt-ins on January 7th, open beta most likely will not begin on the same day, but should start shortly after. So everyone will be in that's opted in by January 7th, hopefully, for the most part. As of right now, everyone that's opted in, they say have been invited. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So open beta should start probably middle of January. That's really awesome. We're just getting closer and closer to launch, and therefore getting it officially on our iPads and phones and everything, and I cannot wait. I
so cannot wait for it to be on mobile. But at the same time, I'm kind of scared that it's going to be like really tiny, and I won't be able to see it because I have a small phone screen.
Yeah.
But
Android.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'll probably have another phone before then anyway.
Yeah. There was yet another patch after the most recent one that initiated the ranked play changes and all that. Is patch 0.4217. Airtel says, in the most recent patch, we discovered an issue where some players were unable to start a new arena run. This particular issue is unable to be hotfixed and requires a client patch to resolve. The good news is we're about ready to patch Hearthstone and get those affected back to normal, and they have. With that said, we're not planning on too many additional patches between now and open beta, so we've also decided to take this opportunity to make a couple of changes to some mage cards that utilize the freeze mechanic. So it felt like overnight they had heard the climactic rise of complaints against mages who were dominating the ranked play matchmaking.
Exactly.
Especially with their frost spells, frost mages. They just had so much control. They would control you and starve you of cards, and just you couldn't get anything on the board to stick. And then they would blast your face with pyroblast and so on. You just had no chance. It just wasn't. I'm sorry, people. It just was not skill. No one liked it. Anyone that played it, that it's not because you thought you were good. You were looking for easy wins, and that's how I strongly feel about it. People are going to take shortcuts. I tried to do the same thing. We all did, because we got tired of it. We want to win too. We all tried it. So
yeah, it was the same thing with the one-turn kill thing the hunters had. With, what was it? Unleash the Hounds and all that.
Right. Everyone tried it to see what was it about. They were like, yeah, this needs to be fixed.
But in the meantime, let me get to rank 14.
Right. You need to fix this. But while you get to work on that, I'm gonna go ahead and still play it. Skill be damned. They said, Airtel says, we've been keeping an eye on freeze mechanics for the past few months, and we've decided to make some changes to certain cards that utilize freeze in this patch, such as Cone of Cold, Blizzard, and Frost Nova. Those are strictly mage cards. These cards are all having their mana cost increased by 1, which I feel is fair. I didn't even really notice.
Yeah, I feel like they're still just as strong as they were before, but now they have to wait a fair amount of time before they can implement them, or they can't use as much. Like they can't use some other combos that they can at certain turns anymore because it costs that one more mana that stops them from casting that frostbolt with it or something. So,
Yep.
Because if you get if your minions get hit with Cone of Cold, you get 3 minions hit with Cone of Cold 2 turns in a row. That's like what, 3 or 4 turns where they can't attack, and they'll probably die during because of the board wipe. And if they have any spell damage, it kills them, let alone freeze them. It's like either they're useless or they're dead. So,
Yep. Mage has superior control all around. Excuse me. So they say, we understand that freeze mechanics can be pretty frustrating if they're too strong and aggressive like they have been. So they raised the mana cost of all those by 1 and have made Cone of Cold and Blizzard to be disenchantable for a little while for their full value for 2 weeks starting from the day of the patch. So I think that's still going on. In case you decide you don't want to play with those anymore as they are now. So of course, this is going to make aggro is going to make a big comeback now. The aggro is more viable and cannot be so burned and stopped by this kind of play deck.
They kind of just nerfed counter meta, so the mana got stronger again.
Yeah, they nerfed aggro counter meta. So warlocks are back doing their thing as they always have, which I don't really see too many ways to play a warlock these days, other than as aggressive, because that's all that really makes a stand. I mean, you can run a different deck, but that's going to require you to survive those first few turns. Because they have a draw mechanic. You got to play a card. You got to play a deck really how it's meant to be played, right?
Exactly. That draw mechanic is crazy. Every warlock always has like 15,000 cards in their hand.
So it makes no sense not to use that, because other players are going to use their hero powers. For better or for worse, some are better than others. But there's some known patch issues with this recent one. Let's look at these real quick. Beta patch issues for 4217. Gaps between cards and cards overlapping can occur in your hand if minion cards are played quickly. This happens often enough to me that it ruins my game. I can't play a card I want to play, and I'll run out all my time just trying to get the right one on the board because they'll stack the overlap. If I try to click it, it picks the wrong card every time, and I'm like, no, get out of the way. You know what I mean?
Never had that. I've never had that one happen to me, but I have had when my opponent returns a card to their hand, or if I return one of their cards to their hand with like Sapper or something, they're like an image of the back of a card. You know how when they're about to drop a card, it hovers over their cards?
Yep.
Instead of hovering,
fly.
Yeah, I've seen cards swoosh around the board like a witch on a broom or something. But
Santa and his reindeer.
Yeah, it's like what is that? And you can see the card before they actually put it down. Not that it matters, because I mean, actually, I don't know if the glitch happens when they actually put it down, then there's the visual glitch, or if it's before they put it down. But sometimes I can see the card before it actually lands.
Yeah, I think it's just for you.
But so the image of the card will be not, instead of hovering over the cards, it'll appear as though it's part of the level. If that makes any sense, like the little like canvas that you put the cards down on, it'll have like a picture of a card there. Instead.
But as soon as they replay it, it comes back up.
Yeah, and it comes back up. But in the meantime, you can't see their hover, or their hand doesn't have any animation, so you can't see if they top decked. You can't see how many cards they actually have in their hand because it's frozen.
Right.
So that really sucks.
I know your pain is visually just frustrating. And then the dancing minions will mess up, like if you lay a Defender of Argus down in your taunt application, it just doesn't work right. And you're like, oh no! There's the game. Let's move on to some gameplay thoughts, my friend. These are decks to crush Richard, your host, with. That is
Oh god.
the aggressive warlock. You just cannot
Yeah.
stand a chance.
I mean, it's because I don't build anything to really face it. Like, I know you're gonna hit me with the aggro warlock deck, but I don't have a deck like designed to fight it. I just kind of go at it. I mean, I kind of do because I have like a control deck that I had when I first started playing Hearthstone, but it's so bad because I was uneducated back then. So I need to revamp that deck and then face you with that one. I'll probably do a lot better. I almost beat you last night with my rogue aggro deck, but you got like a perfectly timed Hellfire that wiped the board, and then I just lost.
To be totally fair, I was kind of prolonging that. 'Cause
Yeah,
I know I had a Jiraxis.
yeah. I don't know. I just need to. The problem with my current rogue deck is that I don't have board wipe really.
Yeah.
Like, betrayal is my bread and butter, in combination with like the fact that my knife juggler can take out a couple cards if I play like Defias Ringleader, and if I play Defias Ringleader and the Murloc Tidehunter on the same turn, I can get 4 knives out, and that potentially could clear 1 or 2, maybe even 3 sometimes if it hits like a 1 health minion or a couple 1 health minions or something.
Yeah.
I usually can get a decent amount of board control out of stuff like that, but as for actual like board wipe, that's where I'm lacking. So if they get any amount of like real board control, then I'm in a bad spot.
I've been playing with this legendary rogue deck that HearthstonePlayers.com, or I think is the website. They've been putting decks up from people that have made it to legendary rank and further that their deck choices, and these are really good decks. So today we're going to be going over Astkaka's rogue deck. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And it's really good. It has very good control, but it also has plenty of draw, so you get that control. And it's got some very good minions. And I suppose some of the legendaries might be a little interchangeable, but that's like 2 backstabs, 2 deadly poisons, 1 blade flurry, 2 eviscerate, a blood mage Thalanos, 2 device ringleaders, 2 loot hoarders, 2 novice engineers, Edwin Van Cleef, harvest golem, 2 SI7 agents, 2 dark iron dwarfs, 2 defender Vargas, a Leroy Jenkins assassinate, 2 spiteful smiths, a Sylvanas windrunner, and 2 Argent commanders, and then 1 sprint. And I don't know. When I saw this deck, I'm like, that seems like a really good idea. Seems like a good answer to aggro while being plenty powerful enough to go against the heavy hitters. When I made this deck, I still don't have a blood mage Thalanos or an Edwin Van Cleef, but I did have everything else, and it still works very well. I didn't even complete.
You have a Leroy Jenkins?
Is that no? I don't have that one either. I'm probably not gonna have that one. I don't particularly care for Leroy or his chicken.
What is his card text? I don't even remember what Leroy does.
He's got a charge, I think, but he only has 2 health, and he summons 2 whelps for your opponent. So he's basically good for 1 turn, unless you can combo a board clear with him. But he's like an immediate punch to the face. That's all. But when I made this deck, I didn't even have a complete rogue deck. Like, I'm still missing cards from the core deck. Yeah. So, be that as it may, it still does very well. I recommend you try it, because you like to play rogue so much, right? What's
Yes, this deck is actually my goal.
Your goal? You're gonna make it?
Yeah, this is my like dream deck, because I saw this a while ago, but I saw the post or the pre nerf rogue nerf version, and it was there was a few differences because some of the cards were better back then than they are now, but so I kind of got like discouraged from it. But I'm glad that you found this I guess updated version of it.
So yeah, that's a pretty good deck. I would give that a try if you're looking to start something with a rogue or maybe something different. But let's move on to some Card Conquistador! Whatever. It's brought to you by Audible, where you get free audiobook at audibletrial.com/discussion. You have your choice of over 100,000 titles to choose from, as we tell you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, such as The Hobbit, which if you've seen the new movie, you'll agree that it is probably fantastic. Well, guess what? It's based off a book, people, and that book is pretty detailed, actually. It's pretty good. Plenty of Warcraft novels. If you love this game, if you love the lore, if you love the heroes, guess what, people? It's based off another game, and that game is World of Warcraft. Those Warcraft novels are based on that game's lore. Also very good. Harry Potter, you could read those for a 5th time. You could hear those for an 8th time. Doesn't matter, your choice. Get your free audiobook today at audibletrial.com/discussion. I am particularly a fan of Richard Dawkins.
The Devil's Chaplain.
That's correct. Yes, I wrote it out. Thank you. He's a scientist, basically. He writes a lot. He's got a few audiobooks. The Devil's Chaplain is not one of them, but it is a particularly great book. And so you can kind of get a feel for his writing style and what he's all about. I'm going to play this really powerful clip for you here in just a second. But if you like what you hear, you can find more of Richard Dawkins on Audible. He's got quite a few books there, some of his best works, I think. And I just recommend try it out. Get a free book at audibletrial.com/discussion and enjoy yours today.
Stand tall, bipedal ape. The shark may outswim you, the cheetah outrun you, the swift outfly you, the capuchin outclimb you, the elephant outpower you, the redwood outlast you. But you have the biggest gift of all, the gift of understanding the ruthlessly cruel process that gave us all existence, the gift of revulsion against its implications, the gift of foresight, something utterly foreign to the blundering, short-term ways of natural selection, and the gift of internalizing the very cosmos.
Credit to Radiolab for that audio, and Richard Dawkins for his book, The Devil's Chaplain. Okay, now for some Card Conquistador.
Yay.
Which one of these legendaries should you choose? Should it come up in a draft? That is, the Black Knight, Illidan Stormrage, or Malygos. Now, the Black Knight is a 6/4/5 with Battlecry, destroy an enemy minion with Taunt. Illidan Stormrage is a 6/7/5. Whenever you play a card with him, summon a 2/1. Malygos is a 9/4/12 with spell damage +5. Which one do you choose?
Well, first it depends on which champion I am and how my draft has looked up until this point. If I was pulling out of spell cards, of course I would go with Malygos. If I had a lot of cards like if I had a couple Knife Jugglers or Flesh Eating Ghoul or something that benefits when other cards die, I might pull the Illidan Stormrage. And if I've been getting a lot of control heavy cards, a lot of freezes, polymorphs, stuff like that, I would probably go with the Black Knight just to synergize with the theme of my deck, or draw blah blah blah. You know what I'm trying to say. My draft up until this point.
Yeah.
But if I were to pull this, say like on this, like this is my first choice instead of like towards the end, and I have no idea what my draft is going to be, I'll probably go with Illidan, simply because I feel he may provide the most utility.
Yeah. Malygos is rather contained to spell decks, right? Like mages
Mm-hmm.
or priests or maybe even paladins or warlocks.
Sometimes rogues.
Sometimes.
More rarely.
I don't know why you would ever put a Malygos in your rogue deck, though.
Yeah.
That's overkill. I don't know. This is not really a right answer. It just depends. Just something to think about. The Black Knight offers some great utility, but how many players use taunts anymore, right? Or depends on where you're at in the metagame. So yeah, I would agree that it's probably Illidan Stormrage if you don't have any necessary need, if you don't necessarily use any spells, or if your deck is already rather controlly, you don't need. But that destroying an enemy with taunt is just that's crazy, because they give players tend to give beefy minions taunt, like haha, get past this, sheep this, you mother duker.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Ook the Duker. I didn't like that guy. Did you like him?
Who's that?
The Hosen from Warcraft.
Oh, actually, I did. Yeah. He was, a lot of the Hosen characters were freaking hilarious to me. I liked.
I'm gonna ook
you in the Duker. The one that was like in love with what's her name? Sylvanas? No, Kieran, Kira Knight something. The undead rogue chick.
It escapes me.
He was like in love with her. That was funny.
So, have you ever heard of Being?
Yes, the band.
Yeah. They're not all that big, but they're getting there. Being is a progressive rock band based in Orlando, Florida. After 10 years, they've finally released their debut album, Anthropocene, which is a term for the human footprint on the Earth, by the way. In a similar vein, they're all about the cosmos. And, that very theme pervades in their music in a radically different way than you've probably ever heard in any other kind of music. And if you have, I would like to listen to it, because I particularly enjoy this. The track included in today's podcast for you is Escape off of their album. If you'd prefer to skip ahead, however, it's about 6 minutes long. Otherwise, though, you're in for a real treat. So enjoy Being, Escape. You can buy Being's album Anthropocene at beingmusic.bandcamp.com. Only $10 digital download. Um, that'll be hitting other digital retailers later this week from this airing. So really enjoyed that. We think.
Yeah, it's very worth it. You guys should definitely go check them out.
So talented.
You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. Thanks to them for letting us kind of promote them here. We really enjoy that. So I got some advice for you. Like I was saying earlier, the metagame changes rapidly between the ranks. So if you're getting swamped in rank play, like your aggro deck's just not working anymore, or your control deck or your burn deck, it's not cutting anymore, and you just can't get past, this particular niche of players for some reason. Try switching decks or heroes or even playstyles. The meta changes radically and rapidly, so you just kind of you have to adapt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that one. What the heck was that?
Are you okay? You have an aneurysm?
I don't know. But yeah, that's really good advice, because you're not gonna win every game with, like, you're not gonna go from 25 to rank 1 with the same deck unless there's something not fair about it. Like, players are gonna get smarter, so things that worked against people who have no idea what they're doing isn't gonna work against people who are really experienced and actually know how to play the game. So you're gonna have to change something eventually. It's actually like kind of a test of the deck that I choose to go ranked with, to see how far I can get before I have to change it. It's like, I feel like it's an inevitable part of playing ranked mode.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do with a deck. If you're going up against a warlock, you're kind of gonna bet that they're gonna have an aggressive rush deck or something of the sort,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's gonna be controlly, and they have no problem losing health, and they're gonna burn you, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I saw that coming. Or priest is gonna lay down a cleric. Yeah, you saw that coming. So you gotta kind of break out of the predictable rut and maybe do something unexpected or unusual. But have you noticed are there Christmas lights going around? Have you noticed, like, in your neighborhoods or anything, when you're driving through, does people have a bunch of lights up in your area?
Oh, of course. Time of year. My own family actually, I kind of outdid themselves. I don't even know how to phrase that. I think it's outdid. Anyway, they went all out for decorations this year inside, because we stay in an apartment, and we have like this island in our kitchen, and they like wrapped lights around it and then put like a Christmas tree shaped thing on the back side of it. They hung up like garland everywhere. It's pretty nice. Like, I love this time of year. I love the festivities, going to see lights, the music, like there's a lot of generosity around this time of year, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, I'm glad that people get more generous around this time of year, but it should be like a year-round thing. We should always be generous and kind to other people instead of one time during the year. So,
well, you kind of went off on a tangent, didn't you?
You know what?
That's good. That's okay.
That's okay. Wanted it.
You wanted it. That's what you wanted for Christmas. Well, that's okay. I just wanted to ask you if you had noticed the winter veil pervading throughout the land of Azeroth. And I'm rather sad that we don't have anything like a seasonal, lights on my game board, that kind of thing. I want some Christmas, some theme going on in my Hearthstone.
Yeah. I mean, they've done that in World of Warcraft, and I'm not sure about Hearthstone. I don't think they did in Diablo though. There are like Christmas like items and stuff in World of Warcraft.
Yep.
Like, you can throw snowballs at each other, and there's like reindeer mounts and stuff like that. So since this game is based on World of Warcraft's lore and characters and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they started putting holiday themed boards and maybe even change or add in novelty cards that are like maybe 0 mana and it just makes it snow or plays a song or something. I don't know. And
Oh,
like it has no effect on the game, but it just makes something cool happen.
but
Like it's purely cosmetic.
a snow level, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think there should that could be another option for microtransactions. Like you buy a card that does nothing but like make the board look cool for you and your opponent. Like you put down this card and there's like a band that comes and plays like a 30-second song or something. I don't know. That would waste people's time, but I'm not a developer for a reason, so.
Yeah.
But I think that would be cool. Like along with the option of buying golden versions of cards or something like that.
Yeah, those visuals and like those sounds and all the stimuli in a video game, that enables like an emotional connection. So
Exactly.
as an extension of that, what is your favorite thing? What's your favorite card artwork or a sound or something?
Favorite card art right now, in terms of look of the actual card itself, is I'm actually really liking. I mean, all of the ones that I've seen, Headcraft Rising is actually one of my favorite looking cards. I just like the way the whole card looks. That's my best looking golden card that I have right now. And my favorite sound is, it's actually a few sounds. Anything that the Doomsayer says, because currently he's like one of the most hilarious cards to me. So I recently started using him in a burn deck that I have.
Yeah.
And when you put him down, he's like, "The end is coming," and like this hysteric, like psychotic voice, and it's hilarious. And then at the start of your next turn, he kills all of the minions on the board if he doesn't get silenced or killed. And when he blows up everyone, he's like, "I knew it," and it's hilarious. But he has 0 attack, so if you give him attack, I don't know why you would, because you can't. Wait, can you even attack with him? If you gave him charge, I guess. If you like gave him an attack and charge on the turn you put him down and he attacks something, he's like, "Did I miss it?" Because he, like, by default he has 0 attack, so it's like he's not expecting to actually hit anything.
It's really creative. I like the work they put into it to make sure all the corners are covered.
That was really funny. I like that card a lot.
I'm really fond of Sylvanas Windrunner and her artwork. She's my favorite of the Horde characters. I always think her armor and I don't know, her whole look and getup is just fantastic. It's superior.
Yeah.
And when
she's always been...
Yeah, she's always been a favorite. And when you lay her down, you get this very dark and morose, like, trumpet wail. It's pretty sinister. It's pretty awesome. You nailed it. That sounded like an evil duck.
No, that sounded like a trumpet.
Oh, okay. I'm also really fond of Tyrion Fordwing. His artwork is phenomenal. The way his cape is just swishing up and he's holding Ashbringer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he just looks really, really good with the Paladin's colors, like a yellow, orange, citron kind of look. And his music that he plays is a brief portion of Call to Arms, which is now part of our new intro. I think that's just absolutely epic, and it really plays well with the theme of Hearthstone, where turns 6, 7, 8 and onwards, you really are doing some damage to each other's face, and it just becomes epic. It's like some late game, I don't know, just legendary stuff going on there. Whole legendary theme really pervades with him and in the game at that point when you're finally able to play him. And I think that nails Hearthstone on the same level that late in the seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh, they would throw down a Blue Eyes White Dragon and shit would be going down. Wind, places tearing up, some Super Saiyan type of collateral damage. Like, it's not okay. But this card's okay. Tyrion Fordwing's okay with me. At least his artwork. Love it. It's great stuff. And I'm really fond of all the sound effects that have to do with cards, like the paper, is swishing, the swishing of the cards, and
Yeah.
as you're moving throughout the game book, the pages like turning and burning, and it's just so good. They spared no details. The only thing I think is missing, which is probably going to be addressed, is when you go to craft cards and you go to disenchant all your spare cards, and it gives you like a list, like you have all these extras, hit disenchant, you hit that button, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's just like, here you go, here's your dust.
Yeah, no sound. It's just like exchange. That's it. It's just a silent exchange of numbers. No sound or anything. I
would love to see like a short animation where it's like maybe there's like a cone of like electricity.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, like the sound you get when you disenchant something, but maybe louder or bigger because you're disenchanting more of one thing. But it's so silent. It's just a silent exchange of numbers. At least give me a buzz or a ring or a pop or something. Ting,
Yeah, something. But it's just like, thank you, come again. Here's your dust.
Yeah, I'd like all these disenchanted, please. Okay.
Here you go.
So what's your favorite game to play while boring family is over for the holidays? Or think back to a time when you had a bunch of family over and maybe you got to open presents with your strict direct immediate family first before all the family came over, or friends or whatever, and you got that game you were wanting. What's a game that sticks in your head, in your memory, very well, very vividly? Because I have mine.
Well, it's actually been like a recent tradition. Ever since the Wii came out, like my brother and his wife will come over and we all play like all of the Wii sports games and the Wii resort games. We like take turns because there's like 6 of us that play normally. But that's like our current tradition. We always play that on Christmas Day. But as for that one game that I always wanted, it was actually what was it called? I can't remember now. Loaded. It was like a overhead 3D shooter.
Overhead 3D shooter.
Yeah, it was on PS1. I wasn't allowed to have it because it was violent. I mean, it wasn't like God of War violent. It was just I was a kid and there was blood, so my mom's like, no. But
no.
My friend actually got it for Christmas, but he knew that I wanted it and he didn't want the game as much as I did, so he gave it to me. So I was extremely excited about that.
That's right.
But I didn't even know it was coming until like the day after Christmas, because of course we're kids and we played outside together normally, but not on Christmas Day. It's gift time.
Right. Gift. Okay. I'm really fond of Dragon Ball Z Budokai, which is the first of the Dragon Ball Z fighting games to hit
the only good one.
Hit the PS2. I mean, arguably, yeah. Some of them are different, and good in their own way. Maybe Tenkaichi 1 was good, kind of. But Dragon Ball Z Budokai, right when... sorry, cat, jeez. Right when we were in the midst of just totally indulging and loving some Dragon Ball Z at that age, that shit was good. It still is good, but it was really good then, and that game was phenomenal. And on the PS2, and the graphics were so good at the time. And you get to see all your characters, and you get to play as like Cell, and you went through the story like dynamically, playing the Cell games, playing as Gohan, going Super Saiyan. It was really cool, and I enjoyed neglecting all my family while they were chatting around, eating, doing their own thing, and playing the game and being pestered. You need to come in here and spend time with your family. No, I'm playing the Cell games. Leave me alone. So it was good time. Really good time. Really enjoy that. I have fond, nostalgic memories of that game. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. Nothing really sticks. Nothing sticks like Budokai did. Except maybe Little Big Planet. Man, I love me some Little Big Planet.
Yeah, I remember you were playing that for a while before I went into the service. I came over a couple of times and you were playing that.
Yeah. That's real good stuff. Well, I don't know. You got anything else you want to add? You want to wrap up? Let's wrap
No.
up. You can email email us your comments, questions, concerns, hate mail, love mail, whatever.
Oh wait, pause. I did want to say, particularly pertaining to the legendary rogue deck, if you guys want that list, just message us on, like, leave a comment or message us on our Facebook page or our Twitter, or email us and we can send you that list. But actually, I think we could just post it on the Facebook page and on Twitter. Well, I don't think it'll fit on Twitter, but
Yeah, we'll do it on the Facebook page.
yeah, we'll put it out on Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a Facebook account or something, just shoot us an email. We'll send it back out to you.
Yep. That email is duelistdiscussion@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Discussion Show, Facebook /duelistdiscussion, Squarespace at duelistdiscussion.squarespace.com. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Special thanks to Rojo adding us to the Realm Maintenance podcast directory and including our little holiday bit in their podcast. Special thanks to Being Music for letting us use their music in the show and support them. And really, really enjoying that. They have such talented guys. I wish nothing but success for them. And also special thanks to our sponsor, Audible.com, where you can get a free audiobook of your choice at audibletrial.com/discussion. We thank you all for listening. We hope you have a splendid Christmas, holiday, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate anything, enjoy your time off. Have a huge cup of coffee. If you don't drink coffee, have a huge drink.
If you don't drink, what do they do then, Devin?
They drink some soda is what they drink.
What if they don't drink soda?
They can drink the blood of their enemies in Hearthstone. Duel on, my friends.
God. That was the best answer.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Everything. This is all digital.